they are going on right. Look how they leaning. They just leaning. That's what it does to you. Have them leaning. Look. You don't know. I don't know what's going on with that face. Look, out of it. Out of it. It is what it is, man. I mean, they like to do it, man, but I wouldn't encourage nobody to do that drug right there, man. It's crazy.
When most people think about prison, they assume drugs disappear because you're locked behind bars, fences, razor wire. So they just assume there is no drugs in that type of society. But the reality is a little bit different. Drugs continue to exist, affecting the inmates, correctional officers, families, and entire communities. Today, we're going to talk about why the drug use exists in prison. We're going to talk about what addiction looks like behind bars, how it affects the prison culture, and what can be done to address the problem. Let's talk about it.
12 years, 85%. I did it. I stood on it. The thing about the streets is you can be caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time. I still got partners out there. You can't expect everybody to see things the way you see it when everybody didn't go through what you went through.
Real topics, real stories, real events. Get my real outfit.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Illa Gezey. Today we talk about drugs in prison, the hidden truth. Now, I'm not here to expose how the drugs get into the prison. I'm only here to talk about the reality of the drug use that goes on behind bars. A lot of people don't understand that, so I believe there is a misconception. And the biggest misconception is, I guess people think prison is a drug-free environment, and everybody back there is just being sober and bored at every prison facility. And that's just not what it is. I've been to at least 8 different facilities. In every institution I've been to, I could get any drug I wanted, if I wanted it. Or the main drugs that are within there. That's what we're going to talk about too. But my thing is, people don't know, but I'll let you know. Drugs are in prison. They just is. How long has that been going on? Probably way before my time. But plenty of drugs are in prison. Cocaine, marijuana, X, all kind of pills. Tunchi, Deuce, K2, Suboxone strips. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you pretty much can get whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, depending on what's going on at that particular point in time. But that's just the reality of what it is. That's just the reality. Like, a lot of people don't want to accept that or don't know that. But if you go to prison and you already been on drugs, going there ain't gonna get you away from it. Now, they do have dorms, I believe, that are program dorms, which they'll drug test you and all, put you in classes and all kind of stuff. But that's just what goes on. Drug use is in there. You're gonna smell it as soon as you walk through the door. Why do inmates use drugs? I feel like that's a conversation that is almost self-explanatory on some levels. Because in my experience, when I've seen inmates, like my roommates, I've had several roommates on drugs. And in my experience, everybody does it for a different reason. Let's just start there. Some people try to escape the reality of them doing a life sentence, or they have to escape the reality of them doing 30 years. So they try to not be in prison. Like, literally, their head is not there. So they be somewhere else. So they try to escape reality. Some of them, and I know these for an example, I had 2 roommates two of them, and they would get so high, like they be on ice, and they be so high. Like these was at two different institutions, 2 separate years, and all kind of stuff. And I'm heading on my way out, but they want to get so high, so I be like, damn, I wonder what their charge is. Like, what you trying to run from? Cause you be trying to get too high. And just my experience, right? I had one roommate. I didn't know this at the time, but when I found out, I got up out of there. He murdered a little baby, like a little baby. And man, I got up out of there, man. And the story just cringed me too much. And I was just like, word, that's why you get high like that. You trying to escape reality. Gotcha. You're trying to escape what you did. You know you did some foul stuff and you really can't live with it being sober. So they try to just stay high. And when I say stay high, when the high wear off, they want to get high again so it can stay high. That's what they be doing. I've seen them do it. Every person don't have that same intent of getting high. Some people depressed. Some people battling depression. Some people just, like I said, long prison sentences, trauma. Maybe they've been doing it on the street already. Stress, boredom, peer pressure, hanging around the crowd. You know what I'm saying? They tell you to try us. They got 30 years. He got 20 years. You got 10 years. He got 15 years. They telling you this your first bid. They telling you to relax. That's what they be trying to get you to do. Chill, bro. You're a little tense. You still a little tense. You got to lean back, relax. Chill, bro. Here, boom. Give you some Charlies. Here. Give you that. Da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And whatever you choose to do is on you. But I wouldn't never want nobody to do drugs back there because for one, you don't know what you're getting. You don't even know what you're getting. You don't know how many hands that thing passed through before it get to you. So you don't know what they did to it. But in prison, it's its own society. So you trust your society, especially when you stuck back there with a lot of time. You get bored. You get stressed out. Man, I've asked these guys why they do it. And I think it's just like I said, it's different reasons for everybody. Past trauma. Sometimes it's the crimes they committed. Sometimes it's what they've been through in their childhood. It's clearly the main thing is just trying to escape reality. That's the biggest part of it. It's trying to escape reality. That's what them guys try to do. And while you stuck in that box, if you don't have no type of way to escape, then it could drive you crazy. You got to have some type of escape. I ain't saying you got to do nothing, but you can pray, you can write, you can read, you can sing, you can rap. So those are escapes. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that can help you meditate, exercise. That's why a lot of dudes exercise, because it help clear your mind. It help ease your mind. So yeah, all of that is an escape. Any drug you want, pretty much in there. But me, myself, from what I've seen and what I touch, it's like coke, crack, heroin, K2, any pills you want, because people take prescription medicine back there. So any pills you want. And meth. And those are the main things. But some of the main things that you'll find everywhere is weed, tobacco, it's ice, man. Yeah, weed, tobacco, and ice. Them the top 3. You'll find them everywhere. I don't know when the meth epidemic came up. I don't know when, because I ain't come up in this to where everybody was doing it. But when I got back there, I'm in this world and I'm noticing young dudes doing it, old people doing it, middle age, black, white, Mexican, Hispanic, all on this ice. And man, and some of them hide it good. Some of them they can't because that thing is powerful. That thing will overpower you. It'll lock a hold on you the way you can't go to sleep. And then when you can't go to sleep, that's what be making them boys trip out on that. But that is a big epidemic back there, man. Young, old, black, white. I'm telling you. I don't know why, but that's what it is. I guess it really get them to escape. And then you wonder why, because it's like, I don't see how that would get them to escape, because that one keep them up. So they be up for days. Just up. But I guess they mind be, I don't know. If I knew exactly how I felt, I could tell you, but I don't with that. I don't. The only thing I ever did in prison was weed. I stopped smoking cigarettes in the middle of my bed, but I did smoke cigarettes and I did smoke weed. I ain't did nothing else. I was trying to think if I slipped and hit K2 one time, because this was when it had looked like the weed. And I bought something, somebody sent me something, and as soon as I taste it, no, this ain't that. This ain't that. So I hit them up, they swap it out, gave me the wrong thing. But weed is the only thing I did in prison. Weed and tobacco, man. Nothing else. Before prison, I did ecstasy. But weed and tobacco is the only drugs that I ever did. I see a lot of people back there with substance abuse issues. I've seen overdoses. One of the first cases I seen, it was a guy, he was from Greenville. This happened at McCormick back in 2014 or 15. You can look it up. There was a guy, he was on visitation and he swallowed like, I don't know, don't let me lie, like an ounce of ice, like an ounce of meth or something like that. And I believe he died. We ain't never saw him again. Like, man, like they caught him getting it in on visitation or whatever. And, man, I think he killed himself by swallowing all that stuff. It was like an ounce or two of meth. But we had heard about that, man, and just the overdoses back there, man, it's crazy, man. I pray for everybody who be back there, man, and I always encourage them boys to get off their stuff, man, and get right. Any of them boys will always tell you, man, Illa right, man. Illa be telling me, man. Illa tell me to do right. I'm telling you, I be on them boy ass like, you need to get off that. You need to tighten up. I tell them. But that's the choice they make, you know what I'm saying? And let's talk about how drugs affect the prison culture, because everything in the prison revolves around drugs and money. And I say that because it circulates. It's a circulating economy. And I remember this clear as day. You might have one person buy a pack. He's spreading it out through the yard, right? In your dorm, you'll have guys who drink, smoke, do this, do that, gamble, all kind of stuff. So the money just circulate. It's a very tight economy, but the money just circulating, because you might buy food from this guy. The guy you buying food from might buy cigarettes from this guy. The guy you buying cigarettes from, he sell phones to this guy, and that's just circulating. And the drugs are right in the mix of all that. The drugs are for the hierarchies, the top notches. Like, you ain't gonna just get it in and you ain't in the mix of what's going on. You gotta know what's going on to even get it in like that. But that's a whole nother story. Let's talk about the debt. It put people in debt. Violence happens because of the drugs. Gambling. You get robberies, extortions, assaults. Hey, it affects mental health. The list go on and on and on, man. I just know that every institution I've been in, I've seen plenty of drugs. And when I say plenty, I mean I've seen plenty of drugs. I walk in some rooms and it's plentiful. To say you in prison, it just be so like, nah. And it remind me of just being in the hood. So you ain't invited in some of these rooms. Now, everybody can't have the privilege of seeing some of the stuff, but you get invited in some of these rooms and it make you just feel like you're in the hood, because in the hood, it's just like anything goes kind of. And you liable to see anything happen in the hood. That's kind of how it is when you go in certain guys' rooms. Anything liable to be going on. You liable to see a person getting a tattoo. You liable to see somebody getting high. You liable to see a bunch of money. You liable to see somebody on live playing games, like all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I feel like the drugs are a part of the economy. They make the economy swing. They drive the economy up or down. And I'm going to tell you this. This is the most important part of the episode, I believe, right here. Who gets hurt because of the drugs in prison? And I feel like everybody feels that hurt. I feel like everybody feels a little bit of that because of people using the substances in prison. Everybody can't handle what they're doing. Not to give them any right to do it, but everybody can't handle it the same. You get some people that do it and you ain't even know they doing it. You get some people to do it and they just all out, wobbling, can't function, can't stand up, can't talk, and all that. All that, man. And let's talk about the families that get affected by this. The families. Because throughout my prison bed, I had phones. I mean, it ain't a secret. It's documented. I got knocked with cell phones at almost every institution I've been to. It's documented. So I would let some of these guys use my phone. But I would cut it after I seen some other stuff going on, like the mamas. They calling the mamas like, can you send me $25? She'd be like, I just sent you $50 on Monday. They're like, Mom, but yeah, they charge double, da-da-da-da-da. All right, I'm going to send you $50 more. It's Wednesday, I'm going to send you $50 more. Don't call me no more this week. And they'll call back Friday, Saturday, and be like, Mama, just send me 20. All I want is 20. Da-da-da-da. I'm telling you, I've seen mamas get burnt out of money just like that. I've seen guys extort the parents because their kid owe them some money, and that revolves around to the debt. This is how, I'm telling you right now, how drugs affect families directly. You might have your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, your uncle, your dad, whoever it may be back there. And you want to make sure they're straight. I've talked to mamas while I've been back there. Ask me to make sure their son been straight. Some of them know their kids high. Some of them talk to me like genuinely, man, like, thank you. They'll thank me, man. Thank you for doing what you're doing for my son. And all I'm doing is letting them use the phone. That's what I think I'm doing. But it affects families directly, man, because you have these guys calling their friends, calling their loved ones, burning bridges now, burning bridges because they just call it. And when they get that itch to want to get high, they calling, they texting, all the way up until you ain't going to want to respond no more because you know what they want. And who do we blame for that? Who is at fault? Who do we blame? You know? You know what I'm saying? So it affects the families in a hard way, man. Hard way. You might want to send your kids some food. You might say, well, I ain't sending you to nothing to nobody cash out. All right, well, you can just put it on my books. You send it to their books, they take the food and trade it out for the dope. So it's like you can't win for losing. You can only hope they not own that stuff, man. And if they own it, hope they get off of it. Getting off of it back there probably ain't gonna happen. No, I'm gonna just be honest. It's hard to get off a hard drug. If you've been on hard drugs out on the street and you stay getting on it in prison, it's hard to shake it after that, I believe. Now, I don't know. It's possible. Anything is possible, but it's hard to shake. And those kind of addictions affect the families directly in a way that affects no one else, because it does affect other cellmates. It does affect the prison staff. It does affect the community in the prison as a whole. Because, like me, for instance, I got to use myself as an example, because I've had like 3 roommates or 4 who did drugs. And for certain reasons, I allowed 1 or 2 of them to do it in the room. For certain reasons that ain't even matter right now. But the main thing is how that can affect a person like me is I've had a roommate when my last 90 days, I had this roommate, he smoked K2 and he did ice. He would be laying on the floor throwing up. He would be wigging out on the rock. And that would bring heat to my room. So I had like 60 days left and they brought this guy to my room. I still got tobacco. I still got tobacco and I still got a phone. 60 days left, because at that point I'm just riding on out with what I got. I ain't trying to do too much, but I ain't trying to lose either. You know what I'm saying? So a person like that can make you lose. A person wigging out, a person just getting high, the police see high, they gonna want to come search that room. I've had the police come in the room looking around because they know he high. And you know what that make me do? You know how that make me feel? I'm angry. After they leave, I'm angry. Because maybe they caught me slipping at the time and I had to get right real quick. But now I got to scream at him because his actions caused them. So now I have to feed off every action. There's an equal and opposite reaction. That's why guys back there, they be getting assaulted. They be getting slapped. Like, you'll be surprised. The guys, you look at these guys out here and you wouldn't believe they've been getting slapped up in there because they owe people. Because they owe the dope man. Because they did something messed up while they was high. You know what I'm saying? Just doing dumb stuff. And that's how they affect the cellmates directly. You can affect your cellmate in so many ways, because if you wig out and they come shake the room down and this person got like phones, he probably ain't gonna let you be in there anyway doing that. If he strapped up like that, he ain't gonna even want you in there. You can't, because you're gonna risk him losing everything. And that's how the chain reaction goes down to the cellmates, how it affects correctional officers, because they see you high, they gotta do something. Sometimes they know everybody in there high, but they want you to handle your stuff. Now you got assholes that just, you know what I'm saying, they see you high, they own you. They own you. They gonna drug test you and all kind of stuff. Yep. You know what I mean? It affect medical staff and all, man, because you wigging out. They call medical down into your unit because you wigging. You know what I'm saying? Overdoses and all of that. That's how it affects the staff. So it affects everybody, man. It affects everybody. It affects taxpayers. It affects us as tax-paying citizens. It affects the surrounding communities and everybody involved, man, can feel the effects. It's crazy because I've seen guys, moms, parents, brothers and sisters say, I don't have it like that right now, son. And they'll still try to hit them. Well, just give me about $10. Can you just send me about 10? Son, I don't got it. And be breaking their parents all for the high. And that's when I'll be like, I can't mess with people like that, man. You trying to break your parents down, man. You see they struggling out there. They struggling out there. And you trying to make them struggle more. You just selfish. You just being selfish. But that's how the drugs make them think. They only think about their high. Now let's talk about one more thing that I feel is very important on this episode. And that is, can addiction be treated in prison? My answer to that, I'm pretty sure I already said it, but it would be yes and no. But my reaction to that is this, man. If you've been on drugs on the street and you come back there, you ain't got to do it when you come back there, but if you come back there looking for it, you can get it. People sell their trays. A chicken tray. I done seen, man, listen, hygiene bags, all kinds of stuff. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Hygiene bags, chicken trays, like I said, a canteen. Anything can get you the drugs. Anything. So if you look for it, you can get it. So if you start getting it, you're already going to be able to get this stuff pretty much easier in here than on the street. Only difference is in here, you don't have a legit way to make money. Everything's a hustle, but you don't have a legit way to make money. So now you got to call home for money. Most drug addicts call home for money and sell their belongings and stuff like that. I don't know if a person can just quit in prison. They got programs. Like I said, they got a dorm, like faith-based units, where it's no smoking pretty much in there. Them boys attend, they attend classes and stuff like that. Pretty much a dorm that keeps them busy and fluent, and they reap benefits in between for that. But maybe those kind of dorms are good for a person who wants to really quit. And I think they got a yard for people who actually want to go through a drug rehab program too. But other than that, man, it ain't enough access, immediate access to drug treatment right there. Like it just ain't. It just ain't. And I don't know if it can be treated back there. I don't know if addiction can be treated back there for real, for real. I really don't, man. It's bad. Like, it's bad. And what needs to change? Better addiction treatment, if you ask me. That should be the number one top priority. Instead of y'all investing 10, 15, 20 million into trying to prevent stuff, because they put up these nets and all kind of stuff at all of these facilities. If they can tell you how much they invested all these millions into the security of stopping people from throwing stuff over the fence and drones and all of that, millions. Ask them how much percentage of millions they invested in addiction treatment. Because they have counselors and mental health people and they have programs. But I don't think it matches up with what they be doing. And like, I mean, they got the mental health support, but I don't know what can change besides helping. Because it seems to me it's less help and more focus on stopping drones, more focus on stopping people from throwing it over the fence and all of this right here, versus let's focus on stopping these guys from even wanting to do it in the first place. You know, they'll make you watch these lame videos when you first get to prison, or when you go to another institution, any institution, they'll make you watch these little lame ass videos in an orientation. And it's talking to you about drugs, but it's so lame and drawn out. It's just boring. And that's what they consider they did their part. Come on, man. I feel for anybody with addiction that go to prison, because the addiction gonna continue. If you an alcoholic, guess what? They got wine in prison. If you addicted to cigarettes, we got plenty of them in prison. Them ain't never going nowhere. I don't give a fuck what they say. You can get you a cigarette easy. It's the easiest thing you can get. I'm telling you. I used to sell cigarettes for $1 chalice. $1 chalice. Word. I ain't never seen it go no less than 50 cents. But yeah, $1 chalice. I done seen them go up to $10, maybe 25 for one. For one. But anything you want, you can get in there, man. And I think instead of trying to stop the access, they might need to invest in the programs. Invest in the inmates. That's part of my pathway to success. I feel like security is what they focus on the most, and it's a lot of lives that get lost in the mix. Because while y'all trying to stop something that cannot be fully stopped, is somebody struggling with addiction. And a lot of guys who do struggle with addiction get depressed. When they get sober and they want to get high and they can't get high, their thoughts rumble. And they get in that room by themselves and their mind go all over the place. And that's a problem. So if there is going to be a change, I think the change would need to be more programs to help addiction. If you're battling addiction today and you're going to prison, you probably going to have a big fight on your hands if you want to quit. I pray for anybody back there who does want to quit, and the access to the drug is just too accessible, and you got to do your best to fight it. The best time to ask for help is now. Get the help you need. They got hotlines, they got programs. Anything you want to do, you can do it. This has been another episode of Real Talk with Illa Gezey. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know if this episode resonates with you. Let me know if you have been through recovery. And let me know what you think about drugs in prison. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.